Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my AFL Fantasy review for round 4 and how a lot of people, I guess, didn't have a good week because of some failed premium. So remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, Doherty was a failed vice captain for me, as I think I put up in my YouTube community post, a 74 from him, and now being that he is out with a knee injury, he is a must trade, and you can see his ownership has plummeted in the last couple of days, and yeah, so that kind of sucks. Day cost really good from him, 126, averaging 114 is almost a must have at this point, and I only see him going up and up. And maybe he gets towards that 950k range, sort of. Then Andy McGrath is a trade out for me unless Will Day holds at 2 games. But I'm banking on the fact that I don't think Will Day will be a 2-gamer. I think he will be downgraded to 1 game, and then that's a hold, and I can get Oliver, but I have to field both Wilmot and Cowan this week. But I'm happy to do that, given that I think a lot of people will be doing that as well if Will Day is suspended. Then you have Duggan, and he's survived yet again. I put a tweet out saying if I go back here to round 2, you'll see that Will Day, Duggan was supposed to be a trade out, but Lockie Whitfield was concussed, so he had to go out for me, as I wasn't going to have him premium have a week, I guess, off, especially with his break even. And Fergus Green was a trade out as well. Round 3, I had the Constable, and then Sheed wasn't at the time, but then I was happy that he did have to be traded out for this last round. And then in round 4, it was getting rid of Tanner Bruin and getting rid of Jared Witts, because I needed to trade them out, and that's how I got to today. And now it's looking like Will Day's almost going to be a trade out, and potentially it's going to need to be Brodie Grundy in a couple of weeks' time. And yeah, so I still have Liam Duggan is holding strong, I guess, and he put up an actual decent score this week, his highest of the year. So I'm just hoping with the background, with the defenders being such a mess in the Eagles camp, that he gets to play a better role, and hopefully with it being at Adelaide Oval the next couple of weeks, he's, I guess, just gets better scoring, I guess. That's all that I can say. And then Will Day obviously was really good, 99. His really good scoring from him, and just hope that he plays next week, or is only going to get a 1-weeker. I think he will, given the match review panel and tribunal, how they're so distant between each other. And then you have Cowan, a 42, and Wilmot, a 36. Hopefully Wilmot picks it back up again. I'd honestly take a 50 from Wilmot. And then Cowan, I think, plays obviously due to Dockie's injury, and hopefully he gets a little bit more because they're, I guess, hopefully he has one of those games, and surely it's around the corner for a rookie that they just have a really good game, and he's playing Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. And then, yeah, hopefully by then he gets an uptake before we get to the Eagles game that he plays in a couple of weeks. And then, yeah, Euland is not playing at the moment, obviously, and now we move on to Petrarca here. 124, huge, and he's got Essendon at Adelaide Oval. Hopefully that's a good game for him, but a 124 was a huge game, especially being on 5, I think it was, at 5, or was it? No, Taranto was 5. He was 10 at quarter time. And for him to put out effectively 114 through the last 3 quarters is huge. And he was at one point at 128, but then had a tackle taken away. So that kind of sucked. But he finally got this, the 8, I guess, plus, well, he got 8 in this, but he finally got more than 8 in the marks and tackles, which really boosted his score up. And I guess he got 8 in his 109 as well. So he basically needs the tackles and the marks to get there in the end, because he only gets close to, well, he got 36 and 34. He got 70 in terms of kicks and handballs in the last game, but he usually is around 60 or 50, 55. So yeah. And then you had Marcus Bontempelli, a little bit lower on marks, which could have got him up to that huge score, but we got the huge amount of tackles that we needed from him, and he's playing Port Adelaide next week, so I think he goes big in that game as well, and that will really, really help his I guess, me choosing him, and hopefully he bumps into the top 22 season rank, as that really justifies picking him, as Petrarca's 20th at the moment, so probably not as much justified, but sort of there. And then you've got Tom Green here, 13th season rank, huge choice, good choice to start him with, 110 average, and yeah, he's really just ballooned in cash and got me 103k from him. Then you got Jinby here, 198k, obviously a bad round this round, but there were some things that he was going to rest, I think. But I think he just played a lot in the in time on ground in the Derby because of the likes of they had no bench in the last quarter, so he had to play the last quarter, which is 25% time on ground in itself. So yeah, if you think about it and you actually look into it, he plays roughly 3/4 of each game, right? So 3/4 of the last quarter is roughly 18%, I believe it is 19%, and if you take 6 to 7% off of the Fremantle time on ground, that gets him back to 80% if they had a normal bench. So a little bit of uptake in the time on ground, but I'm pretty sure that was because they were already falling behind in injuries and stuff like that, so they had to continue to play him basically, and that's the reason why he was so high. And that's so it really wasn't out of the ordinary for him to be that high on that day. Then you got Ashcroft here, 76, good second half, huge score again. I'd like to see him get more marks and tackles, but I don't know if that's really his game at the moment. And we're really relying on him actually scoring really well from kicks and handballs to get his points, I guess. Warple, with Will Day's suspension, if he is suspended, then Warple should get a kick up, and then he can be scoring 80s or so. So that will be really good if he could do that. And then you got Mackenzie here as well, who I expect to get a kick up again and hopefully get 75s for the next week or two, if dependent on Day, I guess. So either way with Day, I'm getting a kick up with Warple and Mackenzie to basically cover Day's output. And then Holland, 54 here, really just, I think he's going to have another breakout game sometime. Could be this week because he's playing at Adelaide Oval with the smaller ground. I think he has, I guess, less ground to cover. And also that will help him, I think, with people actually honouring his lead more. But that could go the complete opposite way because there's less space. But I just have a feeling he'll be able to outrun his opponents quite a lot more. And then Davey, I'm pretty sure is injured, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's actually look that up. Injury list. Here we go. Yeah, I wanted that actually. What? Where is it? They didn't show up. Do we have any Jaden Davey injury season? This is updated and it doesn't look like Alan Davey. Yeah, it doesn't look like Alan Davey is injured by the sounds of it. So that's even better because I think he'll play. He might be a corky and be a test. Like, they might just be holding it out. But at worst, it looks like he's a test for selection. Maybe they give him a rest because of the knock, but I doubt it. And I think he plays, and hopefully he just puts up a 40 or so. 45, 50, just to continue that cash gen. I don't know what his break even is, but I would suspect it's around that. Then we come to the rucks, and the ruck department is surprisingly my best department at the moment, considering every chaos that we've had. Even though I know I'm going to be upgrading Grundy in a week or two when Gawn comes back. The week Gawn comes back is the week that I upgrade Grundy, and I'm going to be using most likely Camaminti to do so. And yeah, so Marshall, great score, got subbed out in the last quarter and currently has my captaincy on him because he's playing Collingwood, but that will most likely change because I brought in Oliver, but we need to see with Day's suspension how that goes, etc. But Marshall, 107, great. Grundy, 119 is great and especially now with Essendon, I think he can score well. I know that Witts struggled against Essendon, but I think that was just because he got run around the park because he's a bigger guy and doesn't really have the mobility compared to Grundy and Marshall, etc. Like, didn't we see Marshall? Marshall played Essendon, put up 100. I think he can do the same. And Marshall's put up 300 scores in a row, so he's starting to get back into form. Grundy's, are they at the same exact score? 99.8 and 98.8. Okay. And Grundy's pretty much done the exact same thing. But I think Grundy can go huge again against Essendon. And then Samson Ryan is picking up I doubt it will be solo, but I think it will be 65-35 ruck with Richmond. If we look here at the rucks, Richmond, Nankervis injured, Soldo injured, Kalina injured, and then I'm going to go to the key forwards. And I just go to Price. You'll see here, Revolt injured, Lynch injured. Is Cumberland the next tallest? Bolter might have to go into... I don't know who's going to go in the ruck, to be honest, at this point, because all their guys are injured. And then you go to defenders, Vlost and Baker, they're all smalls. I don't know who's going to go in the ruck, because even Gibcus, I think Tarrant might even actually be injured at VFL level. But don't quote me on that. So I don't know who's going to ruck other than Soldo now looking at it. So I expect him to take up basically a solo ruck role at the moment. And that'll really boost his scoring. And it will be very similar to the likes of Ned Moyle from Gold Coast. But I suspect Witts will be a late in for Gold Coast. That's my assumption, is that Moyle will be dropped late. So I think Samson Ryan will be a really good guy to pick up this week. And his ownership's at 41%. I expect that to probably go up to 45% when teams are named. As people use, dependent on Witts, they will use him as a leverage to get better people in the back line. So then you have Dunks here, 81. He's not performing like he used to, and it's really disappointing. And I really need to see with North Melbourne GWS. I'll probably give him 2 more weeks as I need to sort out other things. But after 2 weeks, I'm going to someone else like a Dylan Moore or someone like that to get points out of, because Dunkley's just not performing as expected. Then you have Taranto here, 114. Yeah, great. Did start the game with 5 points in the first quarter, but a 109 last 3. Huge effort to get to his score, including, I believe, like a 40-point last quarter. Goulden, 95, sort of disappointing again, but still just holding at 92 average, and I expect him to actually use the ball a lot more in this game as they look to really pinpoint in with the targets in the forward 50, because I expect the Swans to go with only 2 tools, and to have Ryan Clark as a tagger in there as well. So I expect Goulden to use the ball more, as they had like 65 inside 50s for only like 64 points. So I expect him to be used as he's more pinpoint with his kicking, and one of the better kickers in the Swans. So I don't expect them to just dump it in next week, even with Richmond's lack of tools. Then you have Sheasel here doing Sheasel type things. Sheasel the Cheasel is just keeping on, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him 760k next week. Like, if we're being honest here, he's going to go up again a huge amount. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes up 80k. I believe his break-even's -21. So yeah, huge game. Rosie copped a tag and got to 69, so I think he comes back better, as I don't expect Western Bulldogs to tag, neither will the Eagles. So then you have Well, the Eagles could with Jimby, but I don't expect Jimby to tag in that game, honestly. Because I think only they'll really tag the top mids, and I don't think Rosie really warrants that, especially Rosie can go forward, I think, and I don't think they want Jinby sort of going into the back line as much. And then you got Chandler here just keeping on gaining some value. If we look at AFL break evens, go over here, go to Chandler. 20 break even again, huge, so that will be really good. As you can see here, Moyles -8, so the next best guy that I have is Sheasel on 6, so Sheasel actually doesn't have a negative break even at 6, which is still going to be really good. If he gets another 100, that'll be like 60 or 70k, so he's probably going to go to like 740k or so. Phillips, Chesser's injured. Ned Long's my next one, Camaminti. And then you have Hunt down here at 14, who I'm getting in. And I just wanted to check what's Oliver's break even, because I'm guessing it's 120 still. So he's going up and up and up. And 120 break even is quite big. But, you know, so maybe Oliver's sort of at the point now where he's at the tipping stone. But I guess because he has such a good run of games, you sort of almost have to get him in. And yeah, so that's basically it for my team. I mean, you had Philip, who's 66, did really well to get some cash value, and you had Camaminti here at 46, so not the best, but still gained a lot of cash in 38k. So good that he basically gained that money back that I've been talking about with Peddler and made it even. So that's really good. And then you have Ned Long here making some cash as well. So I made 88k out of him so far, and I'm hoping he makes another 70 or 80k with just these consistent scores, I guess, which are starting to trend upwards a little bit due to the injuries. And yeah, that's really it for everything with my team with the round review. So if I go back to here, that's my round review for round 4 for my team. Scored 2022 and round rank of 13k, 13,320, and went up around 9,300 spots up to 36,000. And I'm hoping this week's the big week where I make a big leap, as I am sort of, if Day isn't suspended or suspended for 1 week and Cowan scores well, we are looking at a huge week, I think. So yeah, that's the video there and then, and I'll see you guys back for another video. Thanks guys, goodbye.